In this video, you will learn to describe how cyber vulnerabilities after 9/11 have been weaponized by governments and exploited by criminals, and how rapidly the problem is growing as our reliance on the digital world continues to increase.
A couple of other things, especially for the 9/11, the important part here to understand is the new Freedom Act was the key part to start the mass surveillance programs that Edward Snowden revealed a couple of years ago. And this attack, the 9/11, was the cornerstone to start the new cyber war, the new cyber arena war. That, for example, we're not going to talk a lot about that, but there is an attack called, or a virus actually called the Stuxnet, that was delivered into the Iran nuclear plants, and that process, that virus, that Trojan, was created supposedly by United States and Israel into, or using one operation called Olympic Games. But that kind of things happen because 9/11, because United States or the U.S. government wants to not just understand what is happening into the cyber world, but also prevent and try to stop wars in the real world doing things on the cyber first. So that's the Stuxnet was an example of that. Here are some numbers. I think that it's important to understand cybersecurity numbers. Here is 2017 numbers. Obviously, since we have the report for 2017, the numbers that we have on that report are from 2016. Sorry. So basically, we have a lot of software vulnerabilities. We have things like, for example, cross-site scripting. We have SQL injections. We have local file privilege, or we have privilege escalations on software. We have local and remote file uploads that goes or try to create access or backdoors into the systems. So year by year, we have an exponential increase of that software vulnerabilities. Even if companies try harder to fix those vulnerabilities, detect and correct those vulnerabilities, we have a lot of vulnerabilities in software. Actually, we're going to see a couple of new slides on the new Export Threat Intelligence Index report that we have for this year. Also, some numbers. Those numbers came from Forbes, and a study that Forbes developed on the year 2016. For cyber attacks, we have almost 400 billions of losses on yearly basis around the globe. So between the denial of service, between data leak, between nation-state attacks, there is a lot of money lost in cyber attacks. The cybercrime is a 100 billion business only in the United States. There is a lot of money on the cyber war, and the cybercrime is trying to take advantage of the use of or not use of protections for the users that actually goes into the internet and tries or buys things or perform things on their computers. And data lost, 2.1 billions on this year. That's the projection that Forbes generate on 2016. And for the Export Threat Intelligence Index, here is a link to download the latest report. But let's take a look into the report. Let's take a look into the first report for this year. Let's go to page number 16. This report is actually pretty good, so I recommend it. I recommend this report for actually everybody that wants to understand the current cybersecurity status of the year or quarter or something. So first of all, we have the most frequently targeted industries in 2018. Obviously, we have finance and insurance. Why? Obviously, because there is a lot of money there. There is a lot of people that not necessarily protect their accounts or their systems into the financial and insurance world. But there is a couple of other interesting industries also. For example, the healthcare, we have a 6% of the targets was healthcare institutions in 2018. We have energy. That's something important because with Ukraine, in a couple of minutes, we are going to talk about one example in Ukraine. But there is a lot of malware, a lot of tools that hackers use to target energy industries or energy infrastructure. So that's something important. Let's go to page number 23. On 23, we are going to see the same numbers that we saw regarding vulnerabilities over the year, but with the update for 2018. So we have a pretty huge increase in the number of vulnerabilities, and that's something obvious because normally when in the past we use a couple of systems. We don't actually use, for example, 15 years ago we don't use Twitter, we don't use Instagram, we don't use web application, we don't use mobile applications, but now we use a lot. We have a lot of information, we have a lot of systems, a lot of platforms on our smartphones. So if we have a software, if we have an application in our smartphone, in our computer, there is a chance that that application, that software may came with a lot of vulnerabilities. Not necessarily discover vulnerabilities or things that the attackers already know, but there is a big chance that those applications came with a lot of bugs and a lot of things to be worried about. And the last one on page 28, we have the malicious domain categorized blocked by Quad 9. A lot of URLs that are blocked right now in our systems, in our infrastructure, and our UTMs or firewalls are related to spam. So we have a 77% of URLs are spam, but there are also a lot of cybercrime, a lot of computer crime and hacking, 88%. Then we have 5% for malware and phishing, and 4% for botnet command and control servers. We are going to talk about each of those topics in the following videos on this course. So on that, there is a lot of information on this report. I highly recommend that you download and read the report. Almost 35 page of report. So that's good information. That's something important to understand.